Is it just IBS or is it something else? What is a CT enterography? That was an interesting experience. Let's chat about it. But copy editing updates. I am not feeling well. Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Welcome if you're new here. Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome back if you're one of my lovely returning friends. It is great to have you all here. Today's another slightly different vlog, although there will be some of the normal stuff later in this vlog. But the beginning of this vlog is going to be a continuation of the is it just IBS or is it something else journey that we're on. So yeah, just a quick recap. I was diagnosed with IBS several years ago. Over the last 12 to 18 months, my symptoms have started getting worse again. They've gotten worse, then gotten better, then gotten worse, then gotten better over the last several years, but then they've started getting steadily worse over the last 12 to 18 months, year and a half. And so yeah, that's not ideal. And they say whenever your bowel movements change and things like that, you should talk to your doctor. So that's what I did. Found a fantastic, I kind of bypassed my general practice doctor and went straight to an amazing GI doctor that has treated several members of my family. Went to see the GI doctor. The first thing she ordered was a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. We did those back at the end of April. Those came back pretty much clear. The colonoscopy, they did find 2 polyps, one non-cancerous and one precancerous. Both have been removed, and I will now be doing colonoscopies every 5 years instead of every 7. So that all went as fantastic as it could. I was prepared for polyps. I was prepared for even precancerous polyps. They kind of run in my family. So none of that was a big surprise or shock. But also none of that is what's causing my symptoms. Same thing with the endoscopy. It didn't show signs of anything. There was nothing abnormal. It came back negative for things like celiac, and I think there were a couple other conditions like that that they were able to test for with the endoscopy. All of that came back negative. So basically those 2 tests didn't show anything that could be causing the symptoms. So the next step was going to be a CT Enterography. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And because things get backed up, I called to schedule it right before I flew to England. I knew they wouldn't be able to get me in the 5 days I had left before my trip, but I was really hoping they'd have something for the beginning of June. But instead, they didn't have anything until the beginning of July. So it is now Tuesday, July 2nd, and I get to finally go in to get the CT Enterography. So what is a CT Enterography? I'm not entirely sure. I have looked up videos, but there are way fewer videos about getting a CT enterography scan than there are about getting a colonoscopy or an endoscopy. I think those 2 scopes and tests are just way more common than the CTE. So I found a few videos from hospitals about how their hospital uses the CTE scan and generally what it is. And I found one video of a patient actually going through it. But I know there's different ways that they can do these kinds of scans. So one is by injecting a contrast dye into your bloodstream, and one is by having you drink a liquid that is the contrast dye. But basically they've got to get this dye somehow into your system that will somehow react with the scan. So I don't know what they're doing, so that will be a surprise. I don't know which one's worse, to be honest. I would not want to drink a large bottle of something that typically does not taste very good. So that wouldn't be pleasant so early in the morning on an empty stomach. But I also do not want them to have to stick me with any needles today. The only prep I've had to do for this is I did have to go into a clinic nearby and get some blood drawn for some lab work. They had to do the lab work within a certain time prior to the test. You know, not that that put any extra pressure on this. It totally did. They had to stick me I don't have any major bruising. I don't know that you can see a little bit. I feel like it looks worse on camera than it is in real life. I think it's just shadows. But they stuck me 3 times, like twice around here and then once here before they finally got some blood to come out. And I had like 2 large bottles of water prior to going in yesterday. So, and today I've not had hardly any water because the other part of the prep was basically prep for the CTE. Lab work done like the day before, like within a certain time frame prior to the test, relatively close to the CTE. And then 4 hours before the test, no food and no more than half a cup of water, 4 ounces. So I've got 4 ounces in a water bottle in my fridge that I can like sip on between now and driving to the office. I've not had any water this morning, so I think my veins would be even harder to find. So I really hope they don't have to inject me with something, because that would just not be fun. So we'll see. All of that will be a surprise. I will update you on what happens. As for what they're looking for with a CT enterography, going back to what is a CT enterography, while the colonoscopy can look at the large intestines and the endoscopy looks at your esophagus and your stomach, they can't send a scope anywhere else. And so the CT enterography looks at your small intestines, and I believe it also will look at the gallbladder, the pancreas, kidneys, liver, those sorts of organs that they can't send a scope down into, and we'll just see what it can see. And that's where the contrast dye comes in. There needs to be something in there, I believe. I don't think it's going to show anything. As for like my predictions of what this is going to reveal, I don't think it's going to reveal anything. And that's what I want, honestly. I have felt from the beginning that all of this will be a lot of time and expense. My insurance has covered most things. The first consult was at the beginning of the year, so I hadn't met my deductible yet, so I did have a fairly substantial bill for the first consultation, but then all the lab work has been covered, the colonoscopy and endoscopy were covered. They tried to deny the CTE, but my doctor was able to call them and speak to, I think she had to speak to a doctor at the insurance company and just explain why she was ordering it. She was then able to get it approved, so this should be covered. So it hasn't been as expensive as if I was paying for it all out of pocket. I do have insurance, but it still has been an expense. And at this point, even just, you know, $100, and it was more than $100, but even just $100 is like, oh, that's $100 I can't put towards going to England next summer. Like, this is my thought process now after the trip. Every dollar is a dollar that could be saved for going back to England. So when I have to spend $1 or more on something like medical bills or car repairs, it makes me very cranky. So I kind of knew from the beginning it was probably going to be a lot of time and expense and much ado about nothing, and it would just end up being I just would end up with a reconfirmation of my IBS diagnosis. So that is what I am mentally prepared for. That is what my specialist, my GI specialist, kind of tried to prepare me at our consultation, that, you know, these are all the tests I'm going to run, but just so you know, given your age and all of these other factors, it is most likely that it is IBS, but let's rule out everything else first, because we hadn't done that. My old doctor didn't do that when I was first diagnosed with IBS. At the time, just with what I was saying, I think we ran a few tests, but pretty much she thought, given my age then and how I was describing my symptoms then, IBS was the most likely thing. And it did get better, and that's why now we also think it's probably IBS. So I'm going in today thinking this is just a box we've got to check off, but it really is probably going to just be IBS. But there are things that my doctor says that we can do and things to help manage that better, so we'll see. So yeah, that's where we're at this morning. I will take you with me. I don't know how much I can show you of the process, but I will attempt to take you with me as much as I can, and I will give you a full rundown once I get back of what it was like, how it went, all of that stuff. I'm just ready to go and get it done. I'm ready to come home and be able to drink water. I live in southern Arizona, for those who are new. It's hot right now. Like right now it's already 85 and it's not even 7. It's going up to 106 today. So it's very hot right now. So I feel like I'm constantly dehydrated. So dehydration is a constant threat, and I always have a water bottle with me. So I'm ready to be able to just drink water normally again and not have to be rationing 4 ounces. So yeah, enough chatting. I need to go finish getting ready, and I will take you with me for as much as I can, and then I will tell you all about it once I get home. Okay, I'm back. That was an interesting experience. So let's chat about it. All in all, I think I was there for just under 2 hours. I got there at 7:20 and I left at about 9 o'clock. The guy got me checked in. He was like, okay, I'm gonna get you the contrast drink. And I thought, okay, so great. I do have to drink the stuff. He literally, I got the vlog, you'll have seen it. He literally put 3 bottles, like sport bottle size bottles of this drink into a bucket that you get to carry around, and the lids of each bottle were labeled. He wrote down, at first I thought he was numbering the bottles, but then when I looked at it, he'd put timestamps on them. So I needed to be drinking 1 bottle every 15 minutes. He told me that it would taste like flat Sprite. He was correct. So it's got that like lemon lime flavor. It really does taste exactly like Sprite or 7-Up, one of those, but no carbonation, so completely flat. So it just, yeah, it was drinkable, but it's not great. So I was able to drink it pretty quickly, but they do want you to do 1 every 15 minutes. Like I could have had all 3 in one go just to get it over with, but they want you to do it every 15 minutes. So I'd gotten through the first bottle when they called me back to take me back to like the prep room, and that nurse was just, everyone at this place is so nice. I've mentioned this before, they're all like freakishly nice. The more experience I have with different departments, like they must have to pass a personality check to be hired here, because it's amazing. Because when you're going in for these tests and blood work and doctor's appointments, like you don't want to be there. It does just make it better from a patient perspective when you have really nice healthcare professionals. And so everyone here is super, super, super nice, which just makes it a better experience overall. So yeah, she got me in the back. She's like, do you want a blanket? And it was feeling a little bit chilly back there. They definitely had the air conditioning going. So I'm like, yeah, that would be nice. And so she got me a warm blanket, which was really nice. And she kind of talked me through everything. She told me they were gonna need to do an IV. So I had to do both drinking the contrast, and they did the iodine dye contrast through an IV. So I got both. I think sometimes it could be one or the other, but I got both. So that was fun. So I've got my bandage from my IV. She managed to do it in this arm, so I didn't get stuck for a 4th time in this arm. She was super nice. We talked about, you know, my fear of needles, and she's like, that's perfectly understandable, and all of that. So she was just really, really friendly. And then she explained how everything was going to go. She explained that I might start to feel a little bit sick from what I was drinking, that she's like, a lot of people who come in for a CTE, they're already having GI problems. And so the drink, it's a sugar-free, so it's artificial sweeteners, so that it's sugar-free, because it tastes sweet. It tastes like soda, just no carbonation. But yeah, artificial sweeteners and I do not get along. If I'm gonna have something sweet, it needs to be like actual sugar. This didn't make me as sick as those sorts of things does, but it did go right through me. And I'm trying not to be super graphic, but within about 30 minutes, not even that, within about 15 minutes of finishing the last bottle. I won't lie, it was like mild colonoscopy prep. It was that same feeling. No cramps, no pain, nothing like that, but just suddenly, I need to go to the bathroom. So she had pointed out and mentioned it several times. There's a bathroom right here, right across the hall if you need it. And I did. I went to the bathroom, I think 4 times before they finally called me back. Twice because I just needed to pee because of drinking all of that. And then another 2 times because I still needed to pee, but also other stuff was starting to happen. It didn't last as long. It wasn't as intense as the colonoscopy prep, and it's already kind of finishing. They told me it would probably last for about an hour, and that feeling of it going right through me. So I think I'm good now, but yeah, it wasn't great. So that had started. I was hoping that that wouldn't start until they were done with the scan. And like I was hoping it would wait like an hour or 2, but no, it started pretty quickly. So I was waiting and I had time to go to the bathroom 4 times. And then they finally came. I was expecting that they would take me back for the scan at about 8:30. I think it was closer to 8:45, like 8:45, because they have to wait for the drink to start going through you so that it's gonna show up, light up everywhere it's supposed to. So they finally took me back and she was asking me how I was feeling, and I said, yeah, I'm starting to feel, she's like, that stuff, is gonna start going through. I'm like, yeah, I'm already feeling it. She's like, okay, well, let's get you through the scanner and get you done. Like, please. So they brought me in there. Again, everyone was super nice. It was another nurse that took me back, and then there was a technician, radiologist. I don't know exactly what his job title was, but he was like administering the iodine contrast through the IV. So the IV was already in place, but he was the one that like put it through. First they did some scans without the IV contrast. So I think that was seeing whatever the drink stuff would be showing. And then he came back into the room and did the IV, and they did some more images with that. So before they did the IV, I went in feet first, and I never went in past like my nose. I could always see out the top, so I was never all the way in the tubes. I don't really have problems with claustrophobia. I probably would have been fine, but it was still nice that I didn't go all the way in. So the machine makes some noises. It at one point sounded almost like an engine taking off. Not as loud, but that same kind of like whirring sound that just picks up and picks up and picks up, and you think, is something gonna like have liftoff here? So it makes a little bit of those sorts of mechanical noises, and it has a lot of lights, and like I don't know if these are actually necessary lights, because like they're changing colors. It's like an LED machine, and I think that's just like for effect. I don't know. It was kind of funny because I'm like, do the different colors mean something, or does it just change colors? And at one point there's like a speaker so they can talk to you from the other room because they're all in another room. At one point they told me to take a deep breath and hold my breath, and then the machine kind of brought me out again, and they tell you to breathe again. So then he came back into the room, injected me with the dye. He flushed it with saline first, which I didn't really feel that. Then he put in the iodine, and that was a bit of a weird sensation. So this is what they warned me about. It makes you feel warm / hot and flushed all over. It makes your bladder feel hot as well on your legs, and so for about 15 seconds you feel like you've wet yourself. You haven't. And when they first told me this, I'm like, oh no, because like, what if I actually do like need to go to the bathroom at that point? Like, is it going to make me go to the bathroom? And so both the people who were warning me about this were like, you won't have gone to the bathroom, but it'll feel like it. And the second guy said, it specifically told me, it won't make you go, it's just going to make it feel like you have. And it did. It, like, if they hadn't prepped me for that, I would have totally thought I'd had an accident on the table, especially since I'd been running to the bathroom to pee 4 times already because of all the drink stuff I'd had. So it's a very odd sensation. I'd say that part lasted about 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, and then that passed, and then it's very obvious I hadn't gone. And even in the moment, I'm like, wow, it feels like it, but yet I also know I didn't. So it was bizarre. And then the overall hotness, like the heat, that lasted kind of throughout, because then they put me back in the scanner, they took some more images, and I was still feeling it a tiny bit when they helped me, you know, when I finally got up off the exam table that slides in and out. So like as I was grabbing my purse from the counter and walking out of the CT room, that feeling was finally starting to subside and my body temperature felt like it was going back to normal. I don't think my body temperature actually increased, it just felt like it did. And my goodness, if that's what a hot flash feels like, I am gonna be so screwed when that time finally comes. But yeah, it was not the nicest, but it's not painful, it's not really that uncomfortable, it's just kind of unsettling. And if you're someone like me who hates the heat, that part wasn't fun. But once that was done, that was it. He walked me out, he had me take a seat in this like high chair thing. A nurse came over, took out my IV, they gave me a bottle of water, and I was good to go. Now I'm home. And it is only 9:53, so I'm now going to try to do some editing. I don't know that I really feel like doing that much for the rest of the day. I don't feel bad. I could like go work the rest of the day if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. So I'm gonna do some copy editing because I want to stick to that and stick to the plan, but then I think I'm gonna just relax for most of the rest of the day. So I will give you all a full copy editing update after I've done some copy editing, but this kind of concludes the main portion of this vlog, which was what it's like to go get a CT enterography scan. Not that bad. Would 10 out of 10 do that again over doing a colonoscopy again? Like, definitely a much better experience, but also it ended up being a little bit more than I thought it would. Like, if a colonoscopy is a 10, this is probably like a 3 or a 4. Probably like a 3. I'd say it's like a 3. On a scale of 1 to 10, from like no reaction to, oh my gosh, my intestines are turning inside out, colonoscopy is definitely a 10. Oh my gosh, my GI system is turning itself inside out. This I'd say is probably like around a 3. It's my stomach was not happy with it, but it was overall okay. So yeah, so there you go. Now you know. Hope this was interesting. Hope this was helpful for anyone who is going to get one done. But I now need to get on with the rest of my Tuesday and get on with some copy editing, because that's the main thing we do around here. If you're new, hi again, I'm Andrea. I'm a independent author and a full-time writing instructor currently on summer break. So summer break is when I do the bulk of my own personal writing projects, and I'm currently copy editing the next novel to be published. So I need to get on with that. Okay, I have finished chapter 12, so I'm almost halfway, which is fantastic. I would be tempted to do chapter 13. I just don't think it's wise for me. I don't think today's a 2-chapter day. Maybe tomorrow. and maybe Friday. I probably will not do any copy editing on the 4th of July. So this week I've got yesterday, today, tomorrow, and then Friday. So I'm just thinking of like, it probably will be the end of next week. But that would be the 12th, which would be a whole week early. So I'm not gonna put pressure on myself to do 2 chapters today. Chapter 13 is over 5,000 words. I know there will be some days coming up where I can do multiple chapters, so I'm just not feeling the greatest. My stomach is just feeling not bad, but just a little bit upset, like just not the greatest. So sitting here at my desk isn't really what I want to do. And I do have a call I need to jump on soon, so I might text that person and see if they can jump on a little bit sooner. And then I'm looking forward to the call. It's a catch up with a friend, but then I'm ready to just go sit down. The Tour de France has started, so I am watching that. So I need to watch stage 4 today. So I might do some work on some things sitting on the couch later, but I just think I'm done being at my desk, which means I'm done copy editing for today. But copy editing update since the last time I vlogged. I think the last time I vlogged, I just edited that vlog. We did 3 chapters. I started that vlog thinking I was only gonna do 1, and then thinking maybe I'll do 2, and I was having so much fun I ended up doing 3, and it was 3 big chapters, so I'd done over 15,000 words that day. I then didn't do any copy editing on Friday. That was Thursday. So I didn't do any copy editing on Friday, and then I took the weekend off. But I did do 2 chapters yesterday. Chapter 10 was 4,600 and chapter 11 was 3,600. So I was able to do both of those in one day, and it didn't feel that terrible. It didn't feel that intense, and I was enjoying it. I had a lot of fun doing it yesterday. Today, I've enjoyed doing this chapter. It was a lot of fun. I'm happy with how it's turned out. Like, I wasn't sure how the CTE was going to affect me, and I just think the crap that has to be in those drinks, and that there were so many of them, I just don't think it's agreeing with me. So forcing myself to sit up at the desk is just probably not the best. But yeah, copy editing is going well. We're making progress. I'm definitely ahead of schedule. I'm behind. Where do I have that? I don't think I have that open. So my ideal schedule was to be done copy editing by June 30th. We're 2 days past that. Definitely didn't finish by then. But my realistic schedule was to finish by July 19th. And I think it's more likely that I'm going to finish around the 12th, because I'm halfway through pretty much. I've done chapter 12 of 24, and then the epilogue is short, so that'll be easy. So I'm pretty much halfway through, and some of the shorter chapters, the second half I think has a few more shorter chapters compared to the first half, so I think the second half will go a little bit faster. Like, if I did the math, I've probably edited half the book in terms of word count, if not chapter count. So just knowing next week, like this week is just, I had lab work yesterday, so I had to run out for that yesterday. I had the CTE today. I've got a call today. I've got 4th of July, which is going to take up pretty much all day Thursday, and I'll be with my family. It just feels like there's a lot this week. Next week, there's a little bit less. I think I can get a lot of copy editing done next week. Like, I think Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday can all be 2 chapter days if I wanted to. So I do think I will get this done ahead of July 19th, but I also need to start working. That might be something I do while I watch the tour later. I need to start working on the cover. I still haven't. I meant to start that yesterday and then I didn't, but I have to start doing cover work. I was supposed to start working on the cover on June 21st and be working on the cover between the 21st and the 31st of July. I still have plenty of time, but I don't want to be rushed, and I don't want to be doing the cover in just a few days. I want to take time so I could start doing some rough sketches today while I'm working, or while I'm relaxing and watching TV. So I think that's what I will do. So I'm going to drink some more water. I think I just need to flush all that crap out of my system. I've had a bowl of cereal because like I feel like I should be hungry because it's 11 o'clock and I've really not eaten anything today, but I'm just not hungry. And the cereal is not making me feel that great. So hopefully I can eat some proper food later today. Thankfully I still have some chicken soup frozen, so I might have some of that for dinner tonight. That might be the extent of what I can manage. But yeah, it's been a very productive editing session. I got one chapter done. The goal is at least one chapter a day, and I've been sticking with that. So, and the secondary goal, well, the primary goal is to enjoy it. The secondary goal is to do at least one chapter a day. And I've done both. I did have a good time doing this chapter. I just can tell I can't do anything more. So I'm not gonna push it. But yeah, it's not even noon. Like it's not even 11. Like it's just so weird though. It's not even 11. It feels so much later to me. I woke up at the exact same time I've been waking up, but there's just something about the 2 hours at the medical office, even though it felt like it went by fast. Like I don't feel like I was there for almost 2 hours. It also feels like it took up a huge part of my day, and I feel like it should be, like my brain thinks it's like 1 in the afternoon and it's only 11. I guess that's a good thing. I've checked the CTE off my list. I've checked copy editing off my list. It's not even noon yet. I can just relax and try to have a restful day so that hopefully tomorrow I'm completely back to normal and can get back to editing 2 chapters in a day. So yeah, I'm gonna get on with the things I've already told you I'm gonna get on with a million times, and I will check with you guys in a little while. Okay, taking a break from sitting on the couch and watching the tour and doing some sketching. I got my test results back already. Of course, I have to see what like the full doctor's report is. There's a couple things that don't sound that significant, but they actually have something like listed. So a lot of them just say normal. So like stomach, normal, liver, normal, gallbladder, normal. But then other things, they have things like lymph nodes, no suspicious, lymphadenopathy, something like that, normal, basically. But then there's a couple things where they've made notes that if I'm understanding it, it sounds like it's saying it's normal, but it's not saying specifically normal. Yeah, there might be something my doctor says. I can see the images and everything, which is really cool. There's like over 2,000 images that they grabbed, but so it seems like they got a lot of good images. But yeah, everything's pretty much normal. So yeah, they looked at a lot more than I thought they were going to, so that's really cool. And everything is normal. Shocker. But that's good. That's good. Oh, and they've messaged me, so I need to message back. I need to message back my doctor. I'm gonna do that really quick. Message sent. I'm glad I thought to look at that, because for a second I thought maybe that was an old message, but it's not. My doctor has reviewed the results of the CTE and confirming that everything's normal. So even the doctor agrees. So the doctor agrees. Doctor, that's basically the takeaway. Everything is normal. And I still don't feel good. So I think it is IBS. Which is what I knew would happen and is the preferable thing. It's better than any other more serious illness or condition or disease, so I will take it. If I've got to have something, that's the one I would choose, basically. It's just frustrating because it's not normal. It hasn't gotten better. It did okay while I was traveling, but it wasn't good on the actual travel days. I think part of that, I think half of that, honestly, was anxiety making me feel sick. Then knowing that the anxiety can make me feel sick, it becomes a negative feedback loop. If I'm gonna fly again next summer, I definitely need to work on my flight anxiety and trying to make that a little bit better, because the two just feed into each other. The IBS makes my travel anxiety worse, but the travel anxiety makes my IBS worse, and it's not good. It's also frustrating because there is no obvious trigger. There's no pattern to when I flare up. It's not as simple as every time I eat pasta or every time I have coffee or drink milk. Like it's not that simple. I can eat the same thing 19 times and on the 20th time get sick. All the other 19 times, totally fine, no issue. I can have a really rich meal one night and feel totally fine, and then 2 days later have something that I eat all the time and it makes me sick. So yeah, so I don't know if they want to try me. So I don't know what they want to do next. I'll see what the doctor thinks after. So the nurse was just asking how my symptoms were doing. My doctor wanted to know how my symptoms were doing, because I haven't seen my doctor since April for the colonoscopy, and I haven't like really talked to her about my symptoms since February. I'm guessing they just want to get some information from me on how the symptoms are going and then make a plan for what to do next from there. Everything's not normal right now. I am not feeling well. Like, if I had to go work my job for the rest of the day, like if this was the semester and I had to go teach, I would, because I have the option of taking a sick day and because I have so many sick hours accrued, I would probably take a sick day. I would not feel like going to teach. I could go work my job. Like if I couldn't call out sick, I could go to work. I would be fine. I could get through the day. I would just be feeling really icky the whole time. But if I had the opportunity to take a sick day, I would take a sick day. I'm still not feeling well. My stomach is not recovered. Whatever was in that drink, it is not sitting well. I'm trying to drink a lot of water. I've had some mint tea. I'm trying to just flush it all through my system because I just still feel, my stomach still feels really unsettled. I've managed to eat a little bit because I knew I had to be feeling hungry, but like that hasn't made me feel worse, but it hasn't made me feel better either. So I'm just not, I might do another mug of tea later. I am just feeling like if this is a day that I would have used sick hours to cancel class, it is definitely a day that I can just not do any work at home. So I've done a tiny bit of cover sketching. I've got a really, really, really rough sketch of the cover. So my next step will be to do a more polished rough sketch and start getting the proportions a little bit more correct. So yay, started the cover. We've got ages to go with it, so but you got to start somewhere. So yeah, I've started that. I've been watching the tour. I'm not even halfway through today's stage, I don't think, or maybe I'm about halfway through, so I'm gonna get back to that. But yeah, I don't think any more work is I had other work stuff I wanted to do today, and I don't think it's happening. I think all I can manage to do right now is lay on the couch and maybe do some knitting, but it's gonna be an easy afternoon for me. It is just past 3 o'clock. So it is getting later in the day. Now I feel like it's later than I think it is. I feel like it should be, at 11 it felt like 1, and at 3 it still feels like it should only be 1. So somehow my brain processing time is like flipped from feeling like it's later than it is, earlier than it is, to now to feeling like it's not as late as it should be or something. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying other than it's 3 o'clock and I feel like it shouldn't be 3 o'clock. I feel like it should be earlier. So I'm just gonna go lay on the couch because I have no concept of time or anything right now. So it'd be a bad idea for me to try to do any work because I clearly can't think straight. It is nearing the end of the night and I need to wrap up this vlog. I think I'm finally starting to feel a little bit better. I was able to eat some chicken soup with some toast for dinner, and I think my stomach is finally like starting to settle. So hopefully tomorrow morning I wake up and I'm completely back to normal. Still no word back from the doctor after I sent that message. We'll see if, I feel like there's a few options. Either there's another test that I'm not aware of that she'll order, or she could have me wait and see for another few months and then report back. But I'm hoping she won't do that, since they sent the message just asking if my symptoms are the same. Since I'm saying yeah they are, I'm hoping then we can move forward with next steps and just treating this. If it is IBS, what are my options then? But she could want me to just wait and see and make more notes and observations about how my symptoms do over the next few months. So I feel like I'm preparing myself for that to be an option. Or I could get a message saying to schedule an appointment for a follow-up and go in and talk to her in person. That's what I'm hoping for, unless there's another test that I'm not aware of, but I will keep you all posted. Other than that, I've just had dinner. I've finished watching today's stage of the tour. I'm now watching some YouTube. I've done a little bit of knitting. I have made progress since I showed you in the last vlog, or maybe it was 2 vlogs ago. I had restarted working on one of my old knitting projects that I've just been neglecting for way too long. Over the weekend, I made a ton of progress. The weekend was just so good. Saturday and Sunday, you all would have been so proud of me. Saturday and Sunday, I did no bookwork. I didn't run any errands. I didn't do anything. I literally just sat on the couch and watched the Tour de France and did a lot of knitting and relaxing. They were two of the most, I went for walks both mornings, but they were just two of the most restful days I have had in such a long time, and it felt amazing. So yeah, I made a lot of progress. I finished knitting the leg of the first sock. So now I'm doing the leg of the second sock. I'm checking everything off on my little tracker thing that I made so that I know what row I'm on. I don't know how many rows, but there's 18 pattern repeats, and each pattern repeat is 4 rows. I'm really trying to do at least the 4 rows of one pattern repeat every day, but over the weekend I managed to do like 4 or 5 pattern repeats each day. So I think one day I did like 6 or 7, but broken up throughout the day. I'm making progress. I've also done a little bit more cross stitching in the bookmark that I bought in York. That one I'm struggling with. I just don't think cross stitch is for me. So yeah, I will finish that bookmark, but it's a lot slower progress on the bookmark because my eyes start to hurt from focusing on the little tiny squares. But yeah, it's just been a very quiet, relaxing evening. I'm so tired today. And whenever my stomach isn't feeling well, it just seems like it makes me even more tired because I feel like I don't realize it, but I think my body is just using up a lot of energy to try to feel better. But yeah, that's enough rambling for this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. It was a bit of a different one again. Not as much book stuff, but I like documenting the medical stuff. I know how much videos like this help me when, the colonoscopy videos really helped me, and I wish I'd been able to find more about CTEs, because that would have helped as well. So hopefully this helps anyone who might be having to go get a CT scan, particularly a CTE, anytime soon. Have you had a CTE? I would love to know. Or any other kind of CT scan. Did you have to drink the horrible contrast stuff, or have you had the contrast inject? That was the iodine through the IV literally was one of the weirdest sensations I have ever felt. So I'd love to know if any of you have experienced that as well. You can leave me a lemon or lime emoji for the lemon lime flat soda that I got to drink that has made me so sick. I shouldn't say it that way. It hasn't made me so sick. It's just my body did not like it. So yeah, that's the only emoji I can think of. Or you can leave me a sock emoji or a cycling emoji, because I feel like the CT scan, the Tour de France, and knitting are kind of the 3 things from today. So yeah, those are your emoji instructions should you choose to accept them, to let me know which one of you lovely people have made it all the way to the end of this vlog, because you all are the real MVPs around here, and I appreciate you all greatly. And yeah, you can let me know in the comments if you have had a CTE, what your experience was, any advice you have for other people about to go through one. I'm sure that would be helpful in the comments. And yeah, give the vlog a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't want to forget all that stuff. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate both of those things. And I'm gonna go get back to resting this evening, and I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!